All right then. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is January 2nd, 2021. This is a special meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority being conducted in Albany and also remotely. Attending today is Chairman Bradley by telephone.
Yes, I'm here.
Commissioner Ford and Commissioner Fan, both by video. Staff in attendance, we have General Counsel Meyerhoff by video. You have Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Roberts by telephone.
I'm on, thanks.
And myself, Secretary Donahue, in the Authority's Albany offices. On today's calendar, we have 7 items. They are all requests from Council's office for emergency orders of summary suspension. The first item is 00001A. It's Monroe OP 3164607. The licensee is Axes and Ales LLC.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Mark Frering for Council's office. So this licensee has been licensed since 2019, first as a TW, Tavern Wine license, and then last year was granted an OP license. So they've been licensed for about a year and a half. The licensee is located in a COVID-19 orange zone hotspot, so indoor dining is prohibited. On December 30th, 2020, investigators arrived at the premises and observed that the windows and the glass door were covered by black drapes, which obscured any view inside the premises. When they entered the premises, they observed 7 patrons inside, as well as open containers of beverages. There was a patron standing without any facial covering, and the employee was asked regarding whether he knew he was located in an orange zone. He acknowledged that he knew he was in an orange zone and admitted to serving patrons beverages anyway. The service of beverages indoors while located in a COVID-19 hotspot is conducive to the spread of the virus, and therefore Council's office is respectfully requesting an emergency order of summary suspension in order to protect the public health, welfare, and safety. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, thank you, Mark. I don't have any questions.
Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Chairman Bradley, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Mark, they were also throwing axes as well, and is that illegal in an orange zone at this time inside?
I'm going to defer to Gary on that question.
They were engaging in that activity, but and we're going to charge it, but we're not asking for the suspension based on that activity.
Okay.
All right, then with that, I'll call for the vote of the members. First, Commissioner Fan.
Based on evidence presented by council, we find that this location is continuing to violate the governor's executive order surrounding COVID-19. It's therefore an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, and I vote to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford.
Based on evidence presented by council, I vote to summarily suspend this licensee.
Chairman Bradley.
Based on council's presentation, I vote to summarily suspend. It's clear this licensee is a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare.
All right, then the next item I have is agenda number 00001B. It's Monroe OP 3010055. Licensee is Smokin' Joe's Lyle, Inc.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Fan, and Commissioner Ford. William Brennan for Counsel's Office. I'm here today to request that the board summarily suspend this licensee for blatantly violating Executive Orders 202.68, 202.41, 202.16, failing to supervise the licensed premises, and allowing smoking inside the premises. The premises Smoking Joe Lyell Inc. has been licensed since May of 1996. The premises is located at 425 Lyell Avenue, Rochester, New York, which is located in an orange zone. On December 30th, 2020, Investigator Monroe, accompanied by officers from the New York State Police, performed an inspection of the licensed premises. When the investigators arrived, they found the front door and windows completely boarded up with plywood. The investigator could hear music coming from inside the premises. Monroe went to the rear entrance and passed through the first door, excuse me, which was open, but there was a second door that was locked. Monroe knocked on the second door and was let in by what appeared to be a patron. There were two employees behind the bar without face coverings. One of the individuals behind the bar was the principal, Joe Pizzo. 5 patrons were standing about inside the premises without face coverings. One of the patrons was standing smoking tobacco and consuming a beverage. 2 of the patrons were playing pool. Approximately 10 patrons were sitting inside the premises, some smoking, some consuming beverages. When the investigator initially entered the premises, there were 2 dogs inside. One was a pit bull. The pit bull saw Monroe and ran towards him and had to be called off. One of the employees actually told Monroe to take off his mask, apparently to calm the dog down. Monroe kept his face covering on despite the employee's request. When Investigator Monroe disclosed his identity to Mr. Pizzo, Pizzo admitted that he was operating the premises in violation of the executive orders by being in an orange zone. Pizzo ordered all the patrons to vacate the premises at that time. It's clear from Investigator Monroe's report and the pictures that he provided that this licensee is conducting his business with complete disregard for the executive orders that are in place to help curb the current pandemic. The manner in which the licensee is conducting its business presents an immediate threat to the health and safety of the community and public at large. Counsel's office respectfully requests that the board issue an emergency order summarily suspending this licensee.
Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Chairman Bradley.
No, I don't have any questions.
All right, with that, I'll call for the vote of the members. First, Commissioner Fan.
Based on evidence presented by Council Brennan, it's clear that this location is an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, and I'm voting to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford.
Based on evidence presented by counsel, it's clear this licensee is attempting to circumvent the law, and I vote to summarily suspend.
Chairman Bradley, your vote, please.
Based on evidence presented by counsel, it's clear this licensee is a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare and is intentionally violating the governor's executive orders. As a result, he is a risk to the public health, safety, and welfare.
The
And
next, sorry.
Sorry.
All right, we got your vote in. All right, the next item is 00001C, Erie OP 3151543. The licensee is Spano Enterprises, LLC.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Mark Frering for Counsel's Office. This licensee was issued a license in 2012. Has a pending EO matter in another case, which is still open, which was served in November, and not guilty plea was filed in December. It does have some adverse history over the last 7 years. It is located in a COVID-19 orange zone hotspot, which prohibits indoor dining. On December 31st, 2020, investigators went to the premises and saw that the outdoor patio had been covered by a tent, a white tent with all three sides all the way down, so there were not two sides that were open. When they entered the tented area, they observed at least 45 patrons consuming food and beverages. A live band was performing on a stage. The licensee's method of operation provides for recorded music only. The fact that the licensee was facilitating indoor dining under the guise of outdoor dining, and that he was creating conditions which were conducive to the spread of the virus, has caused counsel's office to respectfully request an emergency order of summary suspension in order to protect the public health, welfare, and safety. Thank you.
Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you, Mark.
Commissioner Ford, any questions?
I have no questions.
Chairman Bradley, any questions?
I have no questions.
All right, with that, I'll call for the vote of the members. First, Commissioner Fan.
Based on evidence presented by Counsel Faring, it's clear that this location is an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare. I vote to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford, your vote, please.
I vote to summarily suspend for all the same reasons.
Chairman Bradley, your vote.
I vote to summarily suspend. Based on counsel's presentation, it's clear that this licensee is a risk to public health, safety, and welfare.
All right, the next item I have is 0001D, Monroe OP 3164712. It's Veneto West Side. I think there's a typo on your agenda sheet. It's Veneto West Side LLC.
Good afternoon, William Brennan for Counsel's Office again. I'm here to ask the board summarily suspend this licensee for violating Executive Order 202.68 and failing to supervise the licensed premises. The licensee, Veneto West Side LLC, is located at 1308 Buffalo Road, Gates, New York, which is in an orange zone. The license was originally issued in July of 2020. On December 31st, Investigator Monroe, along with members of the New York State Police, performed an inspection of the licensed premises. When Monroe entered the premises, which is currently in an orange zone, he observed at least 20 patrons inside, many consuming food and beverages. Investigator Monroe spoke with the licensee, Donald Swartz, who indicated he was not aware that the premises was in a current restricted orange zone. Monroe typed the premises address into the New York State COVID hotspot lookup and showed Mr. Swartz that the premises was indeed in a restricted orange zone. Swartz told Monroe that he believed the courts would be making changes to these restrictions on Monday, January 4th, 2021. This licensee showed a complete disregard for the executive orders that are in place to help curb this pandemic. The manner in which the licensee is conducting business poses an immediate threat to the safety, health of its patrons, its employees, and the general public. Counsel's office respectfully requests that the board issue an emergency order summarily suspending this licensee to protect the public.
Thank you, Bill. Just for the members, although I believe I've reported to you on the status of this case, I'm not sure I reported to the entire board. A lawsuit was filed in Erie County challenging the governor's executive order restrictions. A temporary restraining order was denied on Monday of last week. And the matter is going to be heard at a preliminary injunction hearing next week, not on Monday. But word is apparently circulated to this licensee. I'm not sure if this licensee is a named plaintiff or not, but I suspect that's what he's referring to. Anybody involved in that lawsuit knows, however, that their effort to try to get an injunction to avoid the orange zone restrictions was actually initially rejected by the court. And perhaps more than others, people aware of that lawsuit should know that the orange restrictions are still in force and need to be adhered to.
And if I may just add, I believe that the reason I brought it up is I believe that by his own admission, he's showing that he knows they're in place if he thinks that they're going to change on Monday. And I think that's important for the board to know that that was the mindset of this licensee at the time.
Right. Thank you.
All right, with that, Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
Right, Bill, can I just clarify? So at first, he said he did not know that he was in orange zone, but then he made a reference to this lawsuit that surrounds the legality of the orange zone.
That's correct. Apparently,
That's basically what's happened. Okay,
yes, apparently he initially told the investigator he was unaware that this specific location was in the orange zone. Apparently, he has other locations. But then he turned around and made reference to this pending lawsuit that he believed it would be changed on Monday, even though he was operating on that date.
got it. Understood. Thank you very much.
All right, Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Chairman Bradley, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right, with that, I'll call for the vote of the members. First, Commissioner Fan.
This location is clear and imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare. I'm voting to summarily suspend this license. I'm making my decision based on council's presentation and also evidence submitted by the investigator.
Commissioner Ford.
Based on evidence presented by counsel, I vote to summarily suspend this licensee.
Chairman Bradley.
Based on council's presentation, I vote to summarily suspend. It's clear this licensee is intentionally violating the governor's executive orders and therefore has become a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare.
All right, the next item I have is agenda number 00001E, Queens OP 1192590, Pueblo Seafood, Inc.
Good afternoon, Stephen Armstrong on behalf of Council's Office in support of the summary suspension of this licensee, which is doing business as Puebla Seafood Restaurant, located at, located at 9527 Roosevelt Avenue in Jackson Heights, Queens. This is an OP license with a method of operation as a restaurant. License was first issued in October of 2007. Turning to the conduct at issue here, so there were two recent inspections. First on December 18th and the second on December 30th. On the first day, December 18th, at approximately 5:15 p.m., SLA investigator Stravali observed a fully enclosed structure on the sidewalk in front of the licensed premises while he was on patrol in that neighborhood. This structure had a permanent roof and was constructed with wood and plastic window panels. At the time the investigator arrived, the doors and windows were all sealed, preventing any flow of air through the structure. There were 3 patrons observed seated with food and beverages inside the enclosure. The structure clearly does not meet the Department of Health guidelines, which require that such structures be open on at least 2 sides. Now, shortly after this visit on December 22nd, investigators probably spoke to the licensee's sole principal, Ladon Gazares Amin, by a phone. The investigator explained the issues with the structure that he observed on the 18th. Mr. Amin stated that he understood and would open up the size of the structure. On December 26th, Mr. Amin sent investigators photos of the structure, which showed that the doors and most of the windows had been removed. However, on December 30th, officers from the NYPD SLA COVID task force reported that the structure had been fully enclosed again. Later that day, at approximately 8:15 p.m., investigator Stravali returned to the premises and found that the doors and most of the windows had been reinstalled, leaving only one side of the structure open. At the time of this December 30th visit, there were 7 patrons observed seated inside the enclosure. After this observation, investigator Stravali conducted an inspection of the premises itself. He observed numerous fire and building code violations, as well as staff members without proper facial coverings. The conduct issue here is a clear violation of Executive Order 202.81, which went into place on December 14th and makes indoor dining in New York City unlawful. And despite the fact that the licensee had a clear warning that their outdoor dining structure was not in compliance with Department of Health guidelines, the licensee chose to disregard that warning. and in doing so put its patrons, staff, and the whole community at a heightened risk of exposure to the COVID-19 virus. This licensee also has significant adverse history, having paid more than $25,000 in fines since 2017. Based on this record, I ask that the members vote to summarily suspend this license pursuant to Section 4013 of the State Administrative Procedure Act. Thank you.
Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Chairman Bradley, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
All right, then. With that, I'll call for the vote of the members. First, Commissioner Fan.
Based on evidence presented by counsel, this licensee is continuing to violate the governor's executive orders. And it's disappointing that, they try to show compliance, but then, went into non-compliance again after that. Quite deceitful. And this location is presenting an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, and I'm voting to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford, your vote, please.
Based on evidence presented by counsel, I'm voting to summarily suspend this license.
Chairman Bradley, your vote, please.
Based on council's presentation, it's clear this licensee is a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, and I'm voting to summarily suspend.
What the next item I have is agenda number 00001F. It's Monroe OP 315-9596. Licensee is Linwood Bar and Grill LLC.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Counsel's office submits the subject licensee, Linwood Bar and Grill, to the members of the authority to consider an emergency order of summary suspension of its retail on-premises liquor license pursuant to SAPA. The licensee is located at 191 Lee Road, Rochester, New York. The license was issued on January 24, 2018, and it has an OP license. Investigator Monroe and the New York State Police visited the licensed premises on 12/31 at approximately 7:30. At that time, they observed that the windows were covered with paper and they chose to enter through the back door. At this time in Rochester, the licensed premises was located in an orange zone. When they entered the premises, they observed at least one employee, the bartender, not wearing a mask, and at least 7 patrons seated at the bar consuming beverages. At this time in an orange zone, no licensed premises are permitted to have patrons inside. The bartender at this time was the employee in charge. The investigator asked the bartender if she knew the premises was in an orange zone, and the bartender confirmed that she did know the premises was in an orange zone. Clearly, there's a failure to supervise at the licensed premises if there is knowledge of the violation of the executive orders and the licensee continues to violate these executive orders. The licensee cannot claim to be unaware of the executive orders, the SLA, and the DOH guidance, essentially by the licensee's own admission. The executive orders were designed and implemented to prevent the spread of COVID-19, and the licensee clearly cannot be trusted to follow those important laws designed to protect the public. At this time, there is no more imminent risk to the public health, safety, and welfare than to permit individuals to consume indoors and to permit employees to disregard mask protocols. Therefore, counsel's office respectfully requests that the members summarily suspend the license.
All right, Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you, Alex.
Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Chairman Bradley, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
I'm going to call for the vote of the members first. Then Commissioner Fan, your vote, please.
Based on evidence presented by Counsel Lloyd that this location is an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, I'm voting to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford, your vote, please.
Based on evidence presented by counsel, I'm voting to summarily suspend this license as well.
And Chairman Bradley.
Based on council's presentation, I'm voting to summarily suspend. It's clear this licensee has become a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare.
All right, the next item I have is agenda number 00001G, Queens AX 1268395. The licensee is CN Chain, Inc.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Council's office submits the subject licensee CNC Chain DBA Quick Stop Deli and Grill to the members of the authority to consider an emergency order of summary suspension of its retail off-premises liquor license. The licensee is located at 19020 Hillside Avenue in Hollis, New York. The AX license was issued on May 1st, 2013. On December 29, 2020, Queens Vice visited the licensed premises to conduct an undercover sale to minor operation. The minor auxiliary offer was sold beer at the licensed premises. Immediately after that, investigator Stravali with Queens Vice entered the premises. Investigator Stravali observed one employee behind the counter wearing a mask. That employee was identified as the owner, and an additional employee behind another counter towards the back of the premises not wearing a mask. He also observed at least 7 patrons sitting in the back of the premises, some of them sitting at that counter with the employee without a mask. Those 3 patrons sitting at the counter were playing cards and had what seemed to be a pot of cash in front of them. The other patrons sitting near the counter were not wearing their masks. One of them was a child. Additionally, near the 2 not sitting at the counter was a coin-operated gambling machine, and at least 5 of these patrons were consuming alcoholic beverages on the premises. This licensee has an off-premises license only. Additionally, at the licensed premises, the liquor license was taped to the wall, not in a metal or wood frame, and the prohibited sales and the pregnancy signs were not posted. In 2018, the licensee also paid $2,000 for a consumption on the premises violation. The licensee cannot claim at this time to be unaware of the executive orders and SLA DOH guidance, as they have been in place for months now. Furthermore, the licensee should not permit people to consume on the premises, no matter the circumstance. First of all, an AX license does not permit that. And second of all, during this time of the pandemic in New York City, indoor consumption is not permitted. The executive orders were designed and implemented to prevent the spread of COVID-19, and the licensee clearly cannot be trusted to follow these important laws designed to protect the public. At this time, there is no more imminent risk to the public health, safety, and welfare than to permit individuals to consume indoors and to permit patrons and employees to disregard mask and social distancing requirements. Therefore, Council's office respectfully requests that the members summarily suspend this license.
Thank you, Alex. I just want to add that at this point in the pandemic, with the numbers growing, having an off-premises licensee who the board never even vetted for their ability or responsibility to supervise an on-premises operation, violating those rules and serving inside is problem enough. But with other restaurants and taverns closed, a potential magnet for people who, out of human nature, are going to try to find places where they can socialize and drink. And public health is way more important. So I think we need to be particularly careful about off-premises licensees that are operating in this fashion, in this environment. Thank you.
All right, then, Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Chairman Bradley, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right, with that, I'm going to call for the vote of the members. First, Commissioner Fan.
Based on evidence presented by Council Lloyd, this location is an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare. I am voting to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford, your vote, please.
I find this location to be a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, so I vote to summarily suspend this licensee as well.
Chairman Bradley, your vote.
Based on council's presentation, I vote to summarily suspend. It's clear the licensee has become a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare.
All right, then. I have no other items on the calendar. Chairman, do you have anything else?
No, I have nothing else. Just everyone, please stay healthy and have a good weekend. Thanks for all the work during the weekend.
Thank you.
All right, with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Oh, my God.